What's going on, Motor City Sports Talk family? We back in the building. It's your boy CJ Goodfella, and we working, man. Talking some Lions football. Later on tonight, we're gonna do a post reaction to the NBA lottery. Hopefully, it's Jubilee around Detroit that we can get a top 4 pick, but it's not looking good. So that pick might be going to the Clippers. So it is what it is, man. But we'll be reacting to that tonight. We're talking about is Luke Wilson an upgrade over Eric Ebron. And most people don't know who Luke Wilson is. I think he's a local guy, but I remember him from Seattle. And every time I would see him play in Seattle, he would be making big plays, stretching the field, down the field, in the middle of the field, or even on the outside like a corner route or something like that. He was a big play receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. And a lot of that was attributed to Russell Wilson elusiveness and breaking outside the pocket and able to chuck it down to him. But he made a lot of big catches. He's a good down the field threat. He's something that Ebron failed to be in Detroit as far as stretching the field, at least, and being a deep threat between the safeties and down the field. And also you got Michael Roberts from Toledo. He was a rookie last year. Mr. Fields is gone, so they might have to turn to Michael Roberts this year as well. In the tight end position, like Ebron was telling you guys when he was a rookie, it's a tough position to learn in this Detroit Lions offense. You got to line up as an H-back in the backfield. You got to learn some slot. You got to learn blocking schemes. You got to learn the tight end responsibilities, the routes. It's a lot. So it takes a year or two, for you to develop, as a tight end in today's NFL. Jimmy Graham, they hit the ground running day one. Neither did Antonio Gates. Only the truly special ones have big years. And, that big year never came from Eric Ebron. It just seems like he was non-existent. He couldn't, he wasn't helping out Golden Tate control the middle of the field. And if he would have did 60-70% of his job as a tight end, he still would be with Detroit, and Golden Tate would have had a career year last year in the slot. Because if he can occupy linebackers, man zone, control the middle of the field, split the safeties on post routes, really, kind of do what Vernon Davis did and what other great tight ends like Antonio Gates did, control the middle of the field, be a threat in the red zone, which he dropped a lot of balls in the red zone, especially last year. I mean, Golden Tate would have been able to eat underneath. They would have been so worried about Eric Ebron that it had to, roll coverage or spot or watch him, and Marvin Jones wouldn't have had to see that many double teams. Golden Tate would have been loose underneath. I mean, Galladay would have got loose. I mean, the floodgates would open. And that's the test with Luke Wilson this year. Luke Wilson is going to have to do what he did with Seattle. And I know he has some key drops. A lot of people point out, he dropped this, he dropped that. His hands is nowhere near as bad as Eric Ebron was when he was in Seattle. I will tell you that right now. Nowhere near. This guy will make plays down the field at least. He will catch some balls underneath, and he has some speed as well. He got some speed. He ain't no slow tight end. He's an athlete. He ain't Ebron fast, but what he lacks in agility and speed that Ebron had, he makes up with pass catching. He makes up with consistency. He makes up. He has some injuries as well too. I remember him getting hurt in a few games. I watched a lot of Seattle games over the few years, but I think it's an upgrade, man. Just psychologically on the team, psychologically on the fans. The morale, when Eric Ebron dropped the ball, bro, the morale of the whole stadium went out. Your household morale, if they was away and you was watching the game home or away, it went down. It's like when Eric Ebron dropped the ball, Golden Tate would drop a ball. Marvin Jones dropped a ball. Theoretically drop a ball. People you never seen drop a ball since 1985, which started to drop balls. And it would take the air out of the team and the air out of the stadium when they was at home. I've seen it. Remember he dropped the ball in the red zone. Then Daniel Fields dropped the ball in the red zone. And Daniel Fields was catching everything. It was contagious. He was a team morale killer. He really was. And hopefully Luke Wilson, brings what he brought in Seattle and improves a little bit more. And why could he improve a little bit more from Seattle? Because Seattle wasn't a timing offense. Offense is predicated on running ball, play action. And he made a lot of big plays down the field in play action. And Matthew Stafford, even without a running game, is top 5 in play action as far as a QBR or quarterback rating. Okay, but where he can succeed at is catching the fucking ball. Excuse my language. Catching the ball, getting down the field, in a timing offense where in Seattle everything was predicated on Russell Wilson improvising or play action or making plays with his feet and nothing really timing. He's going to be in an offense, for the first time in a long time, where your quarterback is 3, 5, 7 drop, he getting the ball out. 3-step drop, getting the ball out. And not only that, your quarterback, he can move a little bit. He get outside the pocket and improvise and chuck it to you. Luke Wilson is going to be very, very important to the success of this team. And if he's not successful to the success of the team, it'll be Michael Roberts. Them two together, working together, interchanging. If one get injured, taken up, going to be very, very important because Roberts was a huge goal line threat or red zone threat with the Toledo Rockets. He got some big hands, and let's see if he can catch up to speed. Or Luke Wilson, I think he's been a professional. Roberts probably gonna need another year. I think he's gonna step up his production a lot this year, but as be a full-time starter, he got some development to do behind Luke Wilson this year. But I think Luke Wilson is a huge upgrade from Eric Ebron, just from the simple fact that he can get downfield and make plays and catch the ball. Simple fact. Ebron really never made plays down the field. Everything he did was underneath. If he was a crossing route, he was scared. He was going to drop the ball. He never had any deep patterns. Luke Wilson will get down the field and make big catches. That's at least what you get with Luke Wilson. He will stretch the field and make big catches down the field. He gives you another deep threat, and this time from the tight end position. And I think he'll be a big playmaker across the middle this year for the Lions and a morale booster because he will catch the ball underneath a little bit, and he can move. He can run. He's not a stiff. He's not slow. Blocking might be a challenge, but with Ebron, blocking was a challenge. So I believe Luke Wilson will be a huge upgrade, a safety net for Stafford from deep down the field. Let's see what he can do underneath. But if he can just bring that deep aspect to the team and stretch the field like he did in Seattle and do a little bit underneath, he's a huge upgrade over Eric Ebron. And we'll see. I like Luke Wilson. I like the trade. You go back and watch the video like the acquisition. When they got him, I was excited, and I was even more excited when Eric Ebron left. But it's just, small talk, and we're going to continue to talk, football, basketball, and a shout out to the Tigers who fighting for first place today. Got to learn the player's name and start back watching. Been a little bit busy, but, don't forget, NBA lottery, we're going to come with some reaction after that. And you got any video ideas, comment section or hit us up on Facebook, Motor City Sports Talk. We gone.